Hey everybody, this is Mr. Ainsworth. We're going to get into, believe it or not, review number 4 here in Unit 1 in Algebra, going over all kinds of concepts here. So take out your red pen to do your corrections here. So get a red pen. Also, get a calculator, a scientific, take out a calculator, pencil eraser, you name it. And also, okay, all your lessons. And all your lessons. And the reason why I'm asking you that is because we can access them to help you out. Okay, your lessons. I'm talking about your notes. All right. So to get all that ready before you begin. So if you're not ready, press pause and then press play when you're ready. Okay. All right. Let's just get right into it. Here we go. All right. I'm going to put all the steps in red here. I got negative 3x plus 4 less than 13. This is an inequality. Uh, and it's in lesson 1-7 and 1-8 if you want to refer to in your notes, numbers and 2. Okay, sorry about that. So here we go. We're going to subtract 4 because that's the inverse. Write small so we can fit everything in. Cancel out your inverses and you get negative 3x less than 9, right? 13 minus 4 is 9. Now, whenever you divide by an inequality, or excuse me, divide an inequality by a negative, which I need to do here, I always switch inequalities, okay? Switch the inequality when dividing by negative. All right, so simplifying, we get x greater than now negative 3. So you switch the inequality when you divide by a negative. Take out your red pen. Here's negative 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. All numbers greater than negative 3. Don't include that, and they lie to the right. All right, so graph in red. All right, bring a red pen on the test too so you can graph your inequalities in red. Makes it easier to see. All right, there's number 1. Number 2. These inequalities have 3 parts, a left, a middle, and a right. So whatever you do to one part, you do to all 3. So to solve for your unknown here, it's being divided by 2 and then you have to subtract 5. I would start by adding the opposite. So I'm going to add 5 to all 3 parts. All right, what do I get? Well, I get negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1, less than x divided by 2, less than 3. Negative 2 plus 5 is the same thing as 5 minus 2, which is 3. And then notice in here that the variable is being divided by 2. Well, do the inverse. So times by 2, times by 2, times by 2. All right? Do the same thing to everything. 2 times negative 2, excuse me, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, less than x less than 6. And what this means, it means all numbers between, gotta love that, sorry about that, all numbers between negative 2 and 6. You can tell I'm in my own classroom here because we got bells here. So I apologize for that. There's negative 2, and there's, let me see, this is 2, and this is 4, and that's 6. Okay, so there are my reference points right here. This means all numbers between negative 2 and 6. Let me write that down. All numbers, X stands for all numbers between negative 2 and 6. Now, it doesn't include negative 2 and 6 because there's no equal to sign anywhere. All right, so we're going to go open here. So open here, open at our other reference point, and all numbers in between. All right, that's what I mean by this, okay? All numbers between negative 2 and 6. Take a look at your lesson 1-8. You'll see what I'm talking about. All right, next one here. Oh, by the way, just to remind you, this is pause and play video, right? So if I'm going too fast, rewind it and listen to it again. All right, we got to convert 1,700 inches to meters, and this is section 112. So get out section 112 here, and you look at your conversions. We want to convert 1,700 inches to meters, and what we need to do is get a calculator ready. So let me get my calculator going here. My TI-84 Plus. That's what I use. You can use whatever you want. Typically, any scientific calculator would be fine. So get that out and ready. Go ahead and clear it out and turn it on. Here we go. All right, we know that in lesson 112 that there are 2.54 centimeters per inch. So what I can do first is I can multiply it by the conversion factor that relates the inches per centimeters. Oops, let me do this correctly here. So I've got 2.54 centimeters per 1 inch. That's my first thing I know. Now, if you cancel out units as we go, you'll see that I now have centimeters. And I know the reason why I went to centimeters is I have that relationship. And I also know how many centimeters there are in a meter. There's 100, because centi is 1/100th. So what I need to do now is multiply by 1 meter per 100 centimeters. Cancel out the centimeters, all right, end up with meters. M stands for meter. All right, so how do we handle this? We take 1700 times 2.54 divided by 100 because it's in the denominator. Okay, so let's do it. So enter in 1700 times 2.54 divided by 100. You can see it all right there. You multiply and then divide because 100 is in the denominator, and you press the go button or the equal sign, and that's 43.18. So 43.18 meters. All right, M stands for meters. Now, number 4 is very, very similar here. We got to convert 1,850 pounds to kilograms, excuse me. And I know that there's 2 conversion factors for that. All right, so we need to know on this one the relationship between pounds and kilograms. And there's 2 conversions for this, so there's a couple different answers that we can get, but they're going to be close. All right, so here's one way you can do it. You could take 1,850 pounds. First, we got to write it correctly here. 1,850 pounds. And you can multiply it. If you know that 1 pound, in 1 pound there's 0.45 kilograms per 1 pound. So 1 pound here. So look at your sheet here. 0.45 kilograms per 1 pound. The pounds cancel out. I end up with kilograms. All right, and all you have to do is multiply 1,850 times 0.45. Now, if you do that, you get about 832 and a half. So 832.5 kilograms. Now, you don't have to do it that way. You could have used the other conversion factor if you didn't know that fact. So not everybody knows that. Like the one that I learned in grade school was that for every 1 pound, oh shoot, you know what? 0.5 kilograms, 1 pound, 2. Oh yeah, there's for every 1 pound lb, right there. There's 0.4. Let me see. Oh, well, I'm not doing that correctly. I'm got to get focused here, Ainsworth. All right, for every 1 kilogram, excuse me, there's 2.2 pounds. Okay, that's the one I learned in grade school. So, which means that I need to divide now 1850 by 2.2, and guess what? I'm going to get a similar answer here. So I'm going to get my calculator out and take 1850 and divide now by 2.2, and you're going to see you get a very close answer. 840 is close to 832.5, and so we got about 830, 841. So what was that? Let me get that number back. Yeah, 841. So 841, again, kilograms. Now these are close. And the reason why they're close is because 0.45 is an approximation, so is 2.2. They're not exact values. And so we're only getting approximate answers here. But they're close, and they're both done correctly. So I'm going to put or here. You can use either one. All right, next one here. We've got to solve this same equation 2 different ways. Now, most people are taught how to distribute, so I'm going to distribute first as my first technique. So I'm going to get 3 times 4x, or 12x, minus 3 times 1, which is 3, equals 9. I'm going to add 3, and I've got 12x is equal to 12, divide by 12, easy, and you get 1. You don't have to do that, though. You could divide both sides by 3. That's the inverse of multiplying here. So if you simplify, you get 4x minus 1 equals 3. Add 1, and you get 4x equals 4. 4 times 1 is 4, so I get x equals 1. All right, so you could do it 2 different ways. No problem there. All right, now on this one here, we got to convert miles per hour to feet per second. So we got to convert miles to feet first and then hours to seconds. No problem. So let's take 80 miles per hour over here. And we're going to first look at the numerator here. We're going to look at the miles, and we're going to convert it to feet. And I know that there are 5,280 feet per 1 mile. Mi is mile. Now notice that the units cancel and I get feet per hour. All right, I don't want feet per hour, I want feet per second. So now I got to convert I need to convert hours to minutes first and then minutes to seconds. Because I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, or 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So look at in blue here, the hours cancels out. Now I have feet per minute. But I don't want feet per minute, I want feet per second. So I'm almost done. I need to multiply it by, let me see, I know that there are 60 seconds per minute, or in 1 minute, there's 60 seconds. All right, so take out, let me see, the minutes cancel, and I ended up with what units? Well, let me see, feet per second, okay? And all we have to do now is go ahead and multiply 80 times 5,280, divide by 60 equals. So let's go ahead and do that. So start off with 80. I'm going to clear the calculator. 80 times 5,280 divided by 60, hit enter, and you get about 117.3 bar. So 117.3 bar, all right, feet per second, which means in every second, or in 1 second, you travel 117 and a third feet. All right, that's pretty fast, by the way. All right, that's how fast you're moving in terms of feet per second compared to 80 miles per hour. So on the freeway, guys, if you're traveling 80 miles per hour, or your parents are, you're going over almost 120 feet every second. And that's why they give you the 2 to 3 second rule as a cushion between cars, is because it takes a while to stop here, guys. Okay, keep that in mind. All right, we've got to solve and justify, okay? Solve here and then justify as you go. So I'm going to distribute. I'm going to use the distributive property here first. So I got 6x plus 15 is equal to x plus 4. All right, distributive property. Distribute. Distributive property, okay? Distribute through the 3. I'm going to use the subtraction property right now, and I'm going to get my variables to one side. I'm going to do 2 steps in once because, hey, we can do that. It's not a problem. Okay, these opposites cancel, so do these. So that's the subtraction property right here. Subtraction property of equality. And I get 5x is equal to 4 minus 15. Oh, that's negative 11. And I need to divide both sides by 5, and that's the division property. And I get x is equal to negative 11 fifths, okay? So that's the division property here. All right, didn't need to do any side work. Too easy here. No side work needed here. None needed. Not for me anyways, maybe for you. All right, now function notation. Here we go. We're going to take this function here, and we are going to substitute in for x where I see x. So let me highlight that. F of x means that I got to take x and substitute it into the function and evaluate, figure out what the value is. So here I got to take 4 times the quantity, 5 minus 3 squared minus 1. And order of operation states that you got to work inside the parentheses first. So it's 4 times 2 squared minus 1. And that's 4 times, let me see, that's 4 minus 1. 2 squared is 4. And that's 16 minus 1, and that's 15. So my f of 5 is 15. What's f of negative 2? I don't know. So in the first one, I substituted in 5. Now I got to substitute in negative 2 and see what I get. So 4 times negative 2 minus 3, quantity squared minus 1. Notice that I substituted negative 2 in right here where I see the x. So what is that? Well, 4 times negative 5 squared minus 1. Negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. Squared that, 25, so it's 4 times 25 minus 1. That's 100 minus 1. And so I get f of negative 2 is 99. Okay, one more time. 4 times 0 minus 3, quantity squared minus 1. That's 4 times negative 3 squared minus 1. That's 4 times 9 minus 1, because negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. And that's 36 minus 1, or 35. All right, just remember to step it out. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, on the next few, here we go. we have we want to cross cancel and simplify here. Cross cancel and simplify. Let's do that. 7 into 7 is 1. 7 into 21 is 3. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 25 divided by 5 is 5. I get 1 times 3 is 3. Oh, these cancel too. Slow down. Okay, and I get 1/5. All right, 1 divided by 5 is called 1/5. No problem. On these two right here, let's use the 3 product rule. Okay, here we go. I'm going to multiply 3 times. So 3 times 3 is 9 minus 4 times 1, 4 divided by 12, and you get 5/12. Once again, you start off with the left diagonal product, then the right diagonal product, and then multiply the denominators. All right? Same thing, 8 here, plus now 5. 5 times 1 is 5 divided by 20, and I get 13/20. So simple. On this one here, you want to multiply by the reciprocal. So multiply by the reciprocal. All right, so we're going to take 3/8 times the reciprocal of 2, which is 1/2, and I get 3/16. Same thing here. You take 4/9 times the reciprocal, and you get 4/27. So you multiply by the reciprocal here and here. Basic 5th grade math, believe it or not. Okay. Now here's some old techniques that I've taught you guys. You want to distribute through. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 4 times 1/3 is 4/3. So we get 12 plus 1 and 1/3, or 13 1/3. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 2 is 10. That's 10/7 here. That's 10 and 1 3/7 for a total of 11 3/7. Okay? Distribute through, multiply both. Here we're going to take 12 minus 5 minus 3/7. That's 7 minus 3/7, or 6 and 4/7. Okay, if you take out 3 from 7, there's 4 out of 7 remaining. On this one, we got 15 minus 6 minus 2/11, and that's, let's see, 9 minus 2/11, and that's 8 and 9/11. Why? Because if you take out 2 out of 11, then 9 out of 11 remain. All right. On this next one, you got to convert feet to miles. No problem. So I get 25,400 feet. I know that for every 1 mile, there's 5,280 feet, right? So we got to divide. Let's do it. All right, so 25,400 divided by 5,280, and I get about 4.811. 4.811. Let me see. The feet cancel, I get miles, right? So there you go. It's almost 5 miles. That's how you convert, guys. You just have to know your conversion factors, and if you don't, just look at your lesson 112. All right, on this one here, this is section 1-718, actually. I think it's lesson 8. So on this one here, you want to, we've got -1 less than 2x plus 3. It's a compound inequality, less than or equal to 11. I want to subtract 3 on all 3 parts. I've got a -4 less than 2x less than or equal to 8. Secondly, x is being multiplied by 2, so I want to divide everything by 2 and solve for my unknown. So I get -2 less than x and less than or equal to 4. So my reference points are right here and right here. This means all numbers between -2 and 4 and including 4. Okay, that's what it means. All numbers, all right, between -2 and 4, including 4. Including 4. Why? Because of the equal to sign here. So it's going to be closed here, open here, and all points in between. All right, when I see the equal to sign, I make it closed. It's a solution. And if I don't see it, it's open, and -2 is not a solution. All right, remember, there's a video here, so you can always rewind and listen to it again. On this next inequality, you want to subtract 1 first. You always add the opposite first. And you want to get negative 2/3 x greater than 4. I want to multiply by the reciprocal, which is negative 3/2 on both sides. Multiply by the reciprocal. And you do that, this portion right here, that's 1. So you get x. You're multiplying by a negative number, so you got to switch the inequality. All right, 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, divided by 2 is negative 6. All right, so you got to find that point. Negative 2 here, negative 4, and negative 6 right here. It's going to be open, and all numbers less than negative 6 lie to the left. Okay, open. The negative 6 is not a solution. Negative 6 is not, okay, a solution. That's what it means. On number 15, we're going to convert years to seconds. You know, how many seconds in 5 years? So let's figure this out. So here we go. We're going to convert to, let me see. I know how many, there's 365 days a year. So 365 days per 1 year. Cancel out the years and I end up with days. Let me see, there's in 1 day, whoops, 1 day. I have to put in the denominator because I want to cancel it out. There's 24 hours. Days cancel. In 1 hour, here, there are 60 minutes. And cancel out the hours and you add minutes. And we know that in there are 60 minutes. Whoops, this is backwards. In 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. Okay, so this is going to be a big number. All right, because I got to multiply all these guys. They're all in the numerator here. So let's do that. Here we go. So we're going to start off with 5 times 365 times 24 times 60 times 60. Check it. Good to go. All right. Ooh, that's a big number there. Okay. There's a lot of seconds in 5 years. Okay, so let's record that. 15768. So 15768, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me just double check that. 4 zeros. Good. Put the commas in. Look at that. 157,680,000 minutes. Excuse me, seconds. Seconds. Okay. There are the units because the minutes cancel out. Okay. There's 157,000, almost 158 million seconds in 5 years. That's a lot. Okay, because the second is a small time unit. Okay, literal equations. Literal equations. Here we go. Solve for x. All right, so here I want to subtract b first. These cancel. I get y minus b. They're unlike terms, equals m times x. Put a dot there. It's being multiplied. All right, divide by m. Cancel. And I get, let me write it out here, x is equal to y minus b divided by m. All right, that's my end result. Oh, and that's that famous slope-intercept form equation. You can look at your notes. We did this before. It's just review. On this one here, we're going to solve for x, and x is being multiplied by a, but it's also being added to by and then equal to c. So I'm going to opposite again. Here we go, or do a little subtraction. And I get a times x is equal to c minus by. Don't try to combine those variables. They're unlike terms. Okay. And remember that this is being multiplied. A is being multiplied by x, so you got to do a little division here because that's the inverse. All right, x is going to be equal to c minus by, all divided by a. All right, that's from our lesson on literal equations. Go ahead and open your notes. We did a lot of them. All right, and anything's go on the test, so you make sure you review those other ones in your lessons. Okay, number 17. All right, let's go ahead and distribute through the -2 here first. So we got 3x minus 8x minus -2 times 5 is a -10 is equal to x plus 3. All right, and let's see here. We're going to add like terms, so 5x, -5x, 3 minus 8 is -5, minus 10 equals x plus 3. I'm going to gather my variables on the left. Negative 6x minus 10 equals 3. Add the opposite again. Negative 6x equals 13. And lastly, divide by negative 6. So I get x is equal to negative 2 and 1 6. 13 divided by 6 divides 2 times with 1 remaining. All right, and we'll do a little bit more in a bit. All right, let's continue here. All right, now we want to solve the same equation two different ways. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute through the 5. Okay, 5 times 3x is 15x, minus 5 times 2 is 10, equals 20. I'm going to add the opposite here. I've got 15x is equal to 30. Divide by 15 if you want to. All right, and you get x equals 2. 30 divided by 15 is 2. Now you don't have to do it that way. You could have realized that 5 is being multiplied by this quantity here, so you could divide both sides by 5 if you like. No problem. So we get 3x minus 2 is equal to 4. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Add 2 next. And you get 3x is equal to 6. 3 times 2 is 6, so x must be 2. All right, solving the same equation two different ways. All right, on this one, grams to pounds. Now, on the conversion sheet, I know that there's 2.2 pounds per kilogram, so I'm going to change grams to kilograms first. So I've got 24,000 grams times 1 kilogram. There's 1,000 grams. Cancel out units as you go. Then I know that there's 2.2 kilograms, pounds. Let me fix all of that. Whoa. Let me put that back there. So let me see. Let me see, there's 2.2 pounds per 1 kilogram. There we go. So cancel out the kilograms. All right, end up with pounds. There we go. That's what we want. So we got to take 24,000 divided by 1,000 times 2.2 on the calculator. So let's get it going here. Okay, so we've got 24,000 times 2.2. I know that's different than I just said here, divided by 1,000. You could do it either way. All right, there we go. And we should get about 52.8 pounds. Okay, so that's 52.8 pounds LBS. All right. Now this next conversion problem here, we've got 80 feet per second. We want to convert feet per second to miles per hour. So we got to convert feet to miles, seconds to hours. Okay, so here we go. So 80 feet per second times, I know that there's, for 1 mile, there's 5,280 feet. Cancel out the units, make sure you're doing it properly. Now I've got miles, right? Now I got to go from seconds to hours. So I know that there's 60 seconds per 1 hour. No, excuse me, per 1 minute. So let me change that. So cancel out the proper units, and I've got miles per minute, not what I want. So I got to multiply it by 60 minutes, or 60 minutes per 1 hour. Cancel out minutes, and now I have the miles per hour. There we go. So what do we have to do here? We've got 80 times 60 times 60 divided by 5,280. So let's figure that out. So 80 here times 60 times 60 divided by 5,280. And I got about 54.55 miles per hour. Okay, so 55.55 miles per hour, or you can say mph. All right, so when you're on the freeway, man, you're going, 55, 56 miles an hour. You're already traveling 80 feet per second. That's pretty fast, by the way. In 1 second, you move 80 feet. That's why the driver trainers always say, hey, leave a cushion of space in between you, 3 seconds of space. That'll give you around 300 feet of space because of that right there. Okay, on function notation, we got to find f of 2. That means I've got to substitute in here and here. Everywhere you see x, got to substitute in the value that you're evaluating the function at. In this case, x is 2. So we want to take 3 times 2 squared minus 4 times 2. So 3 times 4 minus 8 is 12 minus 8, or 4. So my f of 2 is 4. F of 2 equals 4. On the next one, we've got 3 times negative 1 squared minus 4 times negative 1. Notice the use of parentheses. I substituted here and here. All right, so let's go for it. 3 times 1 minus, you know what? A negative times a negative is a positive, so it's going to be plus 4. And that's going to be 3 plus 4, or 7. So my f of negative 1 is 7. All right, next one. I've got 3 times negative 3 squared minus 4 times negative 3. That's 3 times 9 plus 12. Why? Because a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, keep that in mind. I always cancel out the double negative. That's 27 plus 12 for a total of 39. Okay, and the last few, some literal equations here. Literal equations. So here we go. We got to solve for W. Got to solve for W here. Where's W? Well, it's right here, right? So it's 2 times W plus 2L equals P. So I want to subtract 2L first. Cancel out the opposites, and I got P minus 2L. Those are unlike terms. Equals 2 times W. Always do the inverse. So the inverse of multiplying by 2 is dividing both sides by 2. Divide here and simplify. And then write the result. W equals P minus 2L all divided by 2. P minus 2L all divided by 2. And do not be tempted to cancel out the 2's, because whatever you do to one term, you have to do the other term. So I don't see, a 2 over here on the P. Sorry about that. Okay, and so we just get P minus 2L divided by 2 for W. All right, next one here. I want to distribute through the negative sign here. Distribute through. So we've got negative 4x minus x plus 5. Be careful right there. A negative times a negative is a positive. Equals 7x plus 2. Combine like terms. Keep in mind that there's a negative 4 and a negative 1 is a negative 5. Plus 5 equals 7x plus 2. I'm going to subtract 7x on both sides. Not that you have to, but I'm making that choice. And I get a negative 12x plus 5 equals 2. Subtract 5. I get negative 12x equals 2 minus 5, or negative 3. Negative 12x equals negative 3. Divide both sides by negative 12. And I get x is equal to 1/4. Cancel out the negatives. All right, and I get right here 1/4. All right, and the last one, we're going to convert 50,000 inches to miles. So 55,000 inches. Let's see here. I know that there are 12 inches per 1 foot, and I know that there's 5,280 feet per 1 mile. So if you cancel out units properly, like that, you'll see that we're doing it correctly here. I get miles in the numerator. MI for miles. All right, look right here. Okay, that's my ending units here. And then you just use your calculator. All right, that's why you have one. So 55,000 divided by 12 divided by 5,280. Notice I made a mistake there, so I'm going to fix that. And I get about 0.68. So 0.868 miles. Okay. There's a lot of inches per mile, guys, so it's less than a mile. But that's how it's done. And remember, this is a video, right? So you get to rewind and watch this, pause and play, rewind and review. All right? Practice and make yourself good. Perfect practice makes perfect. This is Mr. Ainsworth. I'll see you in my next lesson.